try.
That's to wake up the.
Around there.
Okay.
Around there, yep.
I'll call this meeting of the July 26th Plan Commission to order. Roll call, please.
Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Jessica Katzenmeyer,
Here.
Eric Torkelson,
Here.
Kathleen Degenhart,
Here.
Brian Frank,
Here.
Brandon Reinke,
Here.
and David Rajka is not present yet. He may come late, otherwise he's excused, and Mayor Devine is excused.
We have a quorum, thank you. Approval of the minutes of the June 28th meeting.
That's so moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. We're going to, just for your record, 2A and 2B will not be covered, so that's off the agenda. We're gonna start with number 4 because the representative is here. Somebody would proceed, please.
And we have, Tom Koyak from the BP project. Steve, you want to?
Sure.
There we go. It's a few slides in. Just keep.
All right, so this is an existing gas station at the corner intersection of National and Lincoln Avenue. And they're proposing a 200 square foot addition. The hours of operation will remain unchanged. The zoning is C3, which allows this. They've been through site planning and conditional use approvals in the past, so we don't have to, this is purely just a site landscaping architectural review before the planning commission giving the 200 square foot addition. And there are 12 new plantings of shrubs along the north side of the building that are going to be proposed. Those won't happen though until after a 2025 construction project that is being sponsored by the DOT along Lincoln Avenue. So we think it's, they could put the plants in sooner than later, but come construction, they're gonna be destroyed anyway. So in the meantime, all we're recommending is just maintenance of the existing landscape facilities and plantings on site, of the refuse and fencing and so on, just to keep it looking sharp up to and through construction. And then at post-construction, those plants that are proposed will be installed. Now, as far as the addition goes, this is the sort of a finished look of what would be designed. So this is all in place now. Is it Citgo? I keep saying BP, but it's a Citgo station. I apologize. So I did it. So the addition is proposed in this area here, more or less just to sort of infill an existing workroom area or office area and some storage, and make the retail area a little bit more functional, just for the purpose of efficiency and better sales and aesthetic. So this is where the addition is going to take place is more or less right here. This is basically 10 by 18, 180, roughly 200 square feet of space. And what you see here is basically going to be, additional coolers being added, a 2-door and a 3-door cooler, and then here, and then some merchandising shelves here. So really no additional, nothing new occurring as far as what's being sold there now will continue to be sold there in the future. Just making that space a little bit more efficient given the addition and the expansion into the existing office and storage area here. And then, so this is a minor project. We have, and the design guidelines are not mandatory. And what they're doing here is four-sided, architecture to keep the theme of what's already been created on that building and keep that flow going, so it's a consistent look on the east and north sides of the building. So from that standpoint, we feel it satisfies the architectural and site design review guidelines. So as the addition matches the architecture. So staff is recommending approval, basically just continued maintenance of the existing landscaping, corner feature, and the other fencing and refuse enclosures on site. And then a note on plan to indicate when that replaced or that new landscaping will be installed on the north side of the site. And otherwise, the standard template compliance of sidewalks, just maintaining that they're not, if they are heaved, those inspections would take place, and then the owner would be on the hook for replacing that at their cost.
Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
We now move
So this is for Automotive Vision Designs. This is the, on the previous plan commission agenda, the applicant has, spoke with planning staff and indicated that they are in the process of resolving the code violation issues, so staff is recommending to hold the proposal, with a deadline set, as well.
We have a motion to hold.
I'll move to hold. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Do you need a deadline from plan commission?
We have one set in the conditions there, you can choose to, if you're
Okay.
motioning this as it is, then we'll take that August 23rd date.
I'll amend that to include the date that's on there, on the recommendation.
Thank you.
Uh,
I think we need a vote then as well.
Yes, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes, thank you. We now move to number 5,
We'll take this one with item number 6, they're both.
5 and 6, thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. These are school district properties. It's the former and soon-to-be new school district headquarters or offices for the district, West Dallas, West Milwaukee School District. The plans for this, the renovation of this were discussed and approved back in April. And as part of that conditional approval, staff had recommended to the planning commission that these two properties be combined and then rezoned. This property here, which is a parking lot, separate lot, parking lot, be rezoned from RC, which is a multifamily district, to C2 to match that of the school district primary property here. So that's the gist behind this, and we're sharing this with planning commission this evening just to sort of see if you agree that these properties should be combined and rezoned from to C2. And then with that, we would forward that recommendation to the common council accordingly. Just to go a little bit more into the zoning, this is the school district property with the existing office building on it. That is zoned C2. And then the parking lot is actually zoned, which is a separate lot, is actually zoned RC, multifamily. And what we're recommending, and the underlying land use is mixed use for the office, and then the parking lot is low density residential. So with any ordinance that goes before council, the ordinance would be crafted to reclassify the future land use from, in this case, for the 9343 property, the parking lot property, from low density residential to mixed use so that it's consistent with the main property. And then the same would go for the zoning. The C2 zoning would remain the same here for the school district office building, but on that small parking lot, it would be rezoned to C2 to match that of the school district. And then the CSM would more or less combine those two lots from two lots into one lot. So one lot of record. So you'd have consistent zoning, you would avoid split zoning, and the future land use would be consistent with that of the zoning. So we're recommending approval of the rezoning and combination of the two lots, and we would refer that then, the next step, if planning commission, approves, or I guess no matter what you recommend, we would be furthering your decision to the common council for a public hearing.
Is there a motion to advance this to the common council?
I'll move to advance it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second regarding numbers 5 and 6. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes, thank you. Number 7.
Thank you, Chair. Item 7 is an update to the zoning code. There's a few kind of key components to this round of updates to the zoning code. First is focused on nicotine sales. We've seen a surge of new nicotine sales uses throughout this year that have been trying to open in West Dallas. We've also seen that other neighboring communities like Milwaukee have tightened their restrictions to kind of limit the spread of this kind of public health threat. Right now we have over 70 licensed retailers in the community. I believe this map shows the ones that are considered principal use. We have a few recommendations in this. One would be to increase the distance that a nicotine sales use could be from another licensed nicotine sales use, a park, a school, or a library, from 1,000 feet to 2,000 feet. We'd also recommend it decreasing the amount of floor area that it would take to be considered a nicotine sales principal use from 20% to 10%. And then we'd also recommend adding a measure to limit the amount of sales that are considered of nicotine sales use. And this is kind of a broader policy decision that will be before the council. There's been some discussion of other ways to regulate this. This is kind of our initial proposal here. The council may amend it, but we're requesting that Planning Commission, we recommend that Planning Commission, advance this proposal to the council, and if they see it fit to modify that, that's acceptable as well. We'd also include in this zoning code update easing some restrictions on childcare. Our current rule set is a little more restrictive than is technically allowed by the state code in a few specific circumstances. Right now, our code says it's a conditional use if a child care center of 8 or fewer children is located in any district that it's allowed in, and the state code actually says if it's 8 or fewer, there shouldn't be those types of restrictions such as a conditional use. So we're just trying to amend the code to align correctly with the state code. We also recognize there's a shortage of child care centers nationally and regionally, so this is another way to help improve this situation in West Allis. One alternative that we are kind of allowing as a consideration for the council, this is kind of up to their discretion, is that they could make this sort of limited use, and so that if there's a duplex or a single family home, you couldn't have, a duplex or multifamily residential, you couldn't have a child care center in the residential portion of those buildings. So that's one possibility the council could adopt on top of our recommendation. We also then have some small minor text changes, shifting some language around in our definitions table, and then adjusting our criteria for 1 to 2 unit dwellings in commercial areas, just to kind of properly clarify what regulations apply to those. Is there any questions from the Planning Commission?
Yes, please.
So the nicotine sales one.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, all the other ones, I think I find this one, I want a little bit more clarification, I guess. So the 1,000 to the 2,000 feet, I'm assuming that's just for all new stuff, not for existing, right? They're just grandfathered in. What do you mean by 20% toward 10% for the floor area?
Yeah, so this is the same. This is for new, existing businesses that have their licenses will always be able to continue operating.
Okay.
This is saying that if there is a new user that comes in and they want more than 10% of their floor area to be devoted to nicotine sales or paraphernalia sales, then it would be classified as a nicotine sales use, which is more regulated than a neighborhood retail use, and is then subject to other restrictions.
And then the 10% or more of sale.
Yeah, so this would be another thing for a new business. They would have to, in their license application, they will have to state how much of their sales they anticipate being nicotine or nicotine related products. And if it's more than 10%, they'd be classified as a nicotine sales use, and then it would be subject to those other more stringent restrictions.
I just wanted clarification.
Yep.
Thank you.
To hitchhike on Brian's comment about impact, this will not impact existing.
That's correct.
However, is that something you considered?
I think there's some restrictions on the city's, like a municipality's ability to restrict uses as they already are. It's something that the council could look into. We're kind of gonna direct them to our city attorney for some of these other more detailed policy questions. This would be something that would take place in the licensing, so it would be kind of outside of our zoning and plan commission scope, but it's something that the council could consider as well.
Thank you. Is there a motion regarding number 7?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion passes. Thank you. We're moving along quite nicely.
Yes,
We hit the quarter 15-minute mark.
That would be a record.
So where are we now?
We are on item number 8, comprehensive plan
I
update.
don't know why I can't find 8. I don't know what that is, but we're on item number 8.
Alright, thank you,
Now,
Mr. Chair.
I have a question before we
Yeah,
do.
of course.
What happened to 2A and 2B?
Oh, yeah, we can
They
clarify
would
that.
do.
The applicant withdrew their application.
Oh, okay. That's it. That's
I
all
was gonna ask
asking.
that too.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
I was asking. All right, thank you.
Alright, Thank you. So item number 8 is just a discussion item, update for the comprehensive plan. So we've entered phase 3, the recommendations phase. This phase will go, kind of began right after 4th of July and then will end in the end of August. So far we've made made 287 new contact points with the community, which is a big milestone for the whole UP project. We've hit over 1,000 contacts with the community so far, which is our original goal at the beginning, so that's pretty exciting. This stage so far is consisted of an online survey, which has I think over like 150 responses. We also our staff participated at the Milwaukee County Safe Street Roadshow, which took place on Saturday and was hosted at the library, where they were asking residents about different street safety related topics. And we were also at the West Allis Night Out on Monday, and along with several other city departments, and there's a lot of people showing out for that as well. We have a few other planned events that we'll be at throughout for the rest of this period. We'll be at the farmers market tomorrow from around 1 to 5, or noon to 5, sorry. And then the Food Truck Friday in August, and we're also in the midst of planning another bike ride in the 2nd District with Alderman Weigel.
Kind of after State Fair, you're thinking, or? Well, I was just curious. I mean, it'd be something I'd be interested in taking part in. That's
Definitely, yeah, we can share an update with you.
okay. Yeah, perfect.
Help up the bike tires.
And our final item.
He's always riding his bike everywhere. I see him out there.
Our final item is just the project tracking updates. For July, we have here's some pictures on the right of construction of Makers Row, which is proceeding very quickly. You can see they have all the framing up for the first phase buildings. There's, I believe, 2 buildings in that phase. Some June item updates, Caribou Coffee received their conditional use permit, and eye care specialists will have an appeal tomorrow. I think that is wrong. They're scheduled for Board of Appeals tomorrow to kind of finalize the Plan Commission approvals there. Then some past items, as mentioned, Makers Row is proceeding. Chase Bank, their building permits were issued, and Boucher Lincoln's building permits were issued for their exterior changes as well. That concludes the project tracking updates.
That concludes everything, I believe. Are there any items for discussion, other than saying goodnight?
Motion to adjourn?
I'll have a motion to adjourn.
Second? We need one?
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for your cooperation and your participation.
6:18, I think that's a record. That is
I think it's a record.